Welcome, everybody. I am Driggs, and as you can see, Marco is still out in the boonies. Last I heard, those blue crabs that he had gotten the other night to bring with him up to wherever it is he's going to the farm in the sticks, that they were a big hit, that they were as good as he had thought, and that although he had gotten only the super mega jumbo size, if you remember him describing that, and that there were like three sizes beyond that, that even though it was only the super mega jumbo, not the supreme, whatever the hell that was, even though it wasn't that, they were still enough of crab for everybody to eat. So he's enjoying himself out there. I anticipate we'll have him back tomorrow, but we certainly have a very exciting guest tonight that I look forward to bringing in just a minute. But the week of baseball has ended. We were looking at a week perspective, and so I can do these percentages. 7 out of 7 is 100%. Or as Mark would point out, we are 4 sevens through the Sundays, or 3 of 8. I don't know. That's his personal algorithm. Whenever he was talking about the Sunday percentages, I don't know, maybe you couldn't tell, but I was just like, yeah. I was just kind of pretending I understood and agreed, because I can't do those maths. But rest assured, the overall percentages of the tournament completed is stored very deeply in my brain. So that won't be a problem. The tournament won't end with us confused about where we are in the process. Although the St. Louis COVIDs might be confused, or the Miami Marlins might be confused, but we'll have more to say about them soon. I'd like to just go ahead and bring in our guest. And if you haven't guessed at who that is, well, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Brian Dale, BD. Brian Dale, nice to see you, our guest handicapper. It's a pleasure to have you here, Brian. How are you?
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, you're muted. We don't hear you. Try to do a little fidgeting with some of those devices. And welcome to the show.
You got me now?
No, can't hear you. So we're having some technical difficulties with Mr. Dale.
My screen looks
fine. Don't hear
today.
you. That's not a good thing. Let me mute you and see if that works. And now I'll unmute you. How about, no, now you're going to be muted. Unmute. It won't let me unmute you.
Now you can hear me.
I'll send you a group chat. That's funny. Let's see. Our viewers are very patient. They will wait until we get it figured out.
How about now?
Does your screen indicate that you're muted? No.
You.
What about now? Let's hear you now.
How about now?
No. Well, I definitely have you muted there. Make host, allow rename.
You're muting me.
I don't want to remove you. Can't do that. This is always fun. You know, our millions of viewers. Do you know sign language? They'll be able to see that. Okay, you are definitely unmuted here.
Okay, how about now?
Nah, let's, how about if you just sign off and come back in and see if that helps anything.
Okay.
I got a joke or two I want to make. So he was clearly able to hear me, so not sure what the issue was on his front. I'm telling you, I got all the preferences set up correctly. I got everything in place. It's all aligned. This is not my fault. It is not. He got a new computer. Don't let anybody, unless he brings it up, don't let him know that we know that he's got a new computer. But we'll see if him just re-logging in is an issue. But if it isn't, then we'll just continue the show. I'll break it down, and we'll be just fine. Not going to worry too much. But God, I want to have a conversation with our guest handicapper about how his week went, how things played out for him compared to, you know, we have some different theories. I would really like to hash those out today. So we're going to bring him back in and see how that all works. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Mr. Dale.
How about now?
No, we can't hear you. I'm going to try something. Now, can we hear you?
How about now?
Yeah. That resolved everything.
You're treating me like one of your students. The big message I'm getting is the host has muted you.
So you can rest assured you'll wind up with an A if you have some good commentary. So if you can get through the torture, it'll be worth the reward. But I do think it was my fault. I think I was the issue. So it's nice to see you with all that.
Thanks for having me. Huge fan of the show. Always watch, and it's awesome. It's awesome to be on.
So, how was your week of handicapping?
Well, most of the picks I take from you, and I like to throw in a splash for myself. Like, let's say, for instance, tonight, Yankees Red Sox are on TV, so I put in Yankees were minus 155, so got in on that, and I got in on your White Sox pick.
Good one to get in out of the
Also
three.
got in on your Cubs pick. It was, I mean, Lester kind of struggled. The Cubs came out well, and
everything about it looked like it would be a bounce back spot
right
for the Cubs. And so, it's still baseball, but looked like it would be a bounce back spot for the Padres too. And they were right where they needed to be towards the end of the game, but the bullpen in the 8th blew it. But that's been how my whole week has gone. It's been a grind. I've been one game away from a winning night. And, none of the nights this week were a disaster. There was no 0 for 5s. There wasn't anything like that, but it was 2 wins, 3 losses. It was 2 wins, 1 loss. It was you just didn't have a breakthrough night. And so a lot of the losses were on the dogs. We're trying to find our dogs. So it wasn't like we were losing big favorites, although there were some of those, but most of the losses were on our dog plays. And so over the course of the whole week, it was just, that Padre game ending that way was a good reflection of how the entire week went. It was like the perfect way for the week to end, to have capped the game pretty accurately, and then to lose it at the very end was like, and here's how your whole week has gone. So
have two tough losses, 1 run each game.
Right. And that's the difference between a winning week and a losing week. And if you bet correctly, it's just a little dent in your bankroll. It's not a depletion of your bankroll. So we're still in really good shape, especially because the prior week was outstanding to move into Sunday. But I know you had particular issue with some commentary I gave the other day where I was talking about how even the wins need to be analyzed in such a way that you should feel bad about your victories, about the winning plays. And you disagree with that theory.
I never feel bad about winning. Anytime you win in gambling, it's fantastic. It's pure entertainment. So when you break down, again, everybody out there, he doesn't charge for picks. You sign up for the email. What's the email?
Picks4sticks, the number 4, picks4sticks@gmail.com.
Yeah, you definitely got to get on those. And yeah, I take a bunch of those plays, and he has a write-up under each and every one of the games. And he tries to say, he basically analyzes exactly how he sees the play. And there was one game that went totally, I forgot which one it was, maybe 3 or 4 days ago. It was a big winner, but the game went completely different than you had anticipated. And I said, so what?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go with it. You got to be happy if it comes out your way. It's great.
That may be a caveat.
It's sports gambling. Crazy things are going to happen. It's not always going to go the way you think it's going to go.
So that may be a caveat to my misery and my wallowing in the sticks, as if you win a game because of luck as opposed to having capped it correctly. You should celebrate that because you're going to lose some like that. And
Right.
so allow yourself to feel comfortable with that. So I haven't broken down the day's action. I thought maybe you'd want to be here for that.
Can I ask you one question first?
Ask as many as you want.
One of my I'm hoping you haven't gone into it yet, but my favorite segment is your spam emails. The last one was "You will not lose today." Have you gotten any of those today?
I do. And so how about we break down the game action, and then I'll keep you around to hear. I owe you some extra time based on how I treated you upon your arrival. So why don't you stick around for the spam email? Well, it's a spam text. The emails I just delete. The texts are a little tougher, and I like to read, a little easier to read too. So Tampa Bay gets the win in Toronto. So they, that game, just when you think that ballpark plays to the over, it goes to the under. Washington gets the win against Baltimore, but Baltimore made a run for it at the end. So that series ends. The Philadelphia Phillies beat the Mets with Wheeler really having as good a performance as Nola. Those two guys are beasts. And then Tampa Bay won the second game of that doubleheader, the 7-inning doubleheader. Cleveland does it with their bats today to beat Detroit, and that's 20 wins in a row over Detroit, if anybody is counting that.
And also Cleveland's bats the last 2 days, they're starting to heat up their offense.
They are, and yesterday it was against Turnbull, who was a real pitcher. So that's an indication, I think, that this team is now a little bit more comfortable after their clubhouse situation with Clevenger and Flesac. Atlanta beats Miami, shuts them out. Houston beats Seattle in a 3-2 game. Minnesota wins the series against Kansas City, and the White Sox, our pick, did what they were supposed to do to St. Louis today. The painful loss of Milwaukee and Chicago. So Milwaukee won the last 3 of those games in a row on the road. Leicester came back to earth a little bit midway. In Colorado finally did what I thought they were going to do the past 2 games. They did today. The bats came to life. And Oakland finally said to San Francisco, this is what you really are. And so the last 2 games, Oakland has won in the 9th inning, but today I guess it was a 5th or 6th inning that they exploded.
That was actually a good game for me. I had the Oakland team total over in that one.
Good call. Very good call. And the Dodgers beat the Angels in easy fashion. The Arizona Diamondbacks come from behind in the 8th with 3 runs to beat the Padres after a really great performance by Richards, who went 7 strong, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned. That was exactly the kind of performance we needed from him. It was the pen that fell apart, but that can happen with our pen.
It's the best Richards has looked too since his good days with the Angels.
Yeah, when were those? I think
3 years ago now, right?
Once he had that injury in Boston, that was it. He's had maybe an individual spot start or 2 that was good, but this was him at his best. Yeah, for sure. So that's New York beat Boston for the 9th time in a row, and like the 18th time out of 20 times. I don't know that exact number. So that was the day's slate. But have you heard me, or have we ever had a conversation about why I like Sundays so much in the baseball season?
Well, I know the Sundays this year are quite a bit different than regular season, but I think I've heard you talk about it, but why don't you say?
Well, it really is the end of the week. Unlike in any other sport, it really is a full travel day. You know, basketball doesn't quite align with the full Sunday slate. There's usually a couple games. Hockey is usually 2 games. Baseball's a full slate. Monday's an off day for teams, but Monday's usually half the teams are playing. So you usually get a team traveling. The other teams are trying to get their rotations back in order. You get some roster moves. Guys had a day off on Sunday who are maybe some of the stars get days off on Sunday. It's just a day where you can really put your entire week of baseball into perspective as you then evaluate your bankroll, do all your accounting. And it's like Monday really is a fresh day in Major League Baseball as you then look at the week ahead.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, it's just very exciting.
Yeah, I think the big reason why they put everything on those Sundays, it's the big television ratings day. And then Monday, I think, is the least. So I think that's
probably.
I think that's baseball's.
Right.
They're going down there.
But you're exactly right that this year, these Sundays don't align quite the same way for the handicapping principles that have traditionally worked. The most I've been able to do with that is to think like Sunday is kind of like Tuesdays. Sunday is the new Tuesday.
Well, in managers in a 162 game season also is on Sundays, that would be a day of rest for certain people. Mm-hmm. And with such a short condensed season, the stars especially, they're not getting as long the layoffs. They're not getting a day of rest here and there. I think what managers are doing this year is they're waiting for a doubleheader. We'll play him one day. We'll play him in game one. We'll let him have game two off.
And so these double headers are going to come out as fast and furious. There's one tomorrow, but we'll talk about that when we wrap up the first read section. But look, with Cincinnati sidelined for this weekend until they get the test results back on the rest of the team, Cincinnati may be setting up to have a whole lot of doubleheaders down the road themselves. But seriously, we know that one player tested positive. Is there anyone out there who's not kind of hoping it's Bauer? Of all the guys, is there anyone who doesn't want it to be him? So
towards the end of this, I'm sorry, I keep wanting to say season, tournament.
Yeah.
Is like the Cardinals. How many doubleheaders are they going to have to play to get to the number?
Yeah, it's something like 47 games in 44 days, something crazy like that. Wow. But my point yesterday was that may be an advantage because they're so well rested compared to everybody who's playing the regular tournament in the right way. They've got everything set up. Now their guys are rested. They take 2 or 3 from Chicago. But did you see the way that they traveled from, I forget where they were, into Chicago? They wanted to extend the day, one more day of social distancing from each other. So they didn't get on a team bus and go. I think I forget where they were, but it was like a 5-hour trip or 4 hour, I don't know. But what I do know is, so the team rented 41 cars and they drove in their cars, 41 separate cars. And I'm wondering, where is there a rental agency that has 45 of the same cars? Did they have to wear their uniforms? Were they waving their caps as they were driving? And how is there no video footage of any of it?
Exactly. That's a good point. Yeah.
So you know the old joke that I guess it's really from the 30s that there were when the clubhouse is divided, they would say they took 25 cabs for 25 guys is how they got to the ballpark because it's a divided clubhouse. So now it's 41 cars to rental cars to the game, but it's kind of flipped because it's a united team that wants to be apart because they're so together in their determination and their commitment to the team.
Ridiculous.
I know, it's so weird. They have to drive in these cars. I guess they play Chicago next, so how are they going to get from Wrigley all the way across town? They're going to drive their 41 cars again. They have to do all this, but meanwhile, the Florida Marlins fly all over. They do layovers in Wuhan. Miami gets to do whatever they want.
you've heard me say it in our conversations on the side. Major League Baseball, their whole plan for this year was just daunted from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Why not follow the NBA model and have a bunch of teams in Arizona or Florida or one of the states in the Midwest?
Well, they're probably going to have to do that for the playoffs.
It probably wouldn't look as visually appealing on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably wouldn't in those spring training, areas. But I think you'd have way less of these breakouts. But who knows? Maybe you have the same issues.
Right. There's just no way to know any of
this. A lot more
but,
players in the NBA, so it's easier than done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just less altogether. But I did get the spam text today. I did. It's so great. They're such con artists. This one is fantastic. It reads, let me call it up here. Do you really want to win today? Well, I was thinking maybe today I don't really feel like I want to win. I want to pick a couple losers just to know how that feels, cuz I'm so tired of winning. Well, do you really want to win today? Yeah, he says 500 gets you 2 winners and 7 days of action. 500? Look, I'm not even putting that much on games. No way. 500 gets you 2 winners. That's only $250 a winner, Brian.
These guys are, nothing is more entertaining than these guys that are selling picks. My sports gambling days have gone all the way back to the late 90s when I was in college. And this was the infancy of the internet. And we used to have to go to the grocery store and you would buy these magazines with like all the guys' picks, and it was just almost all advertisements of call us, just like your spam text.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was one guy that advertised, he said, in our last, whatever it is, 100 and something football picks, we've gone 98-7. What mind is going to believe that? 98-7
over the last 100. That's pretty impressive.
But so this stuff has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still pure entertainment.
Absolutely.
If you can make a living selling your sports picks,
I know.
Have at it.
Wow. Not my cup of tea. I'd rather be part of a community where we're all kind of in it together. There's plenty of people out there who they can dedicate 100% of their life to just handicapping. I can't do that. I can only give about 25%, and I feel like that's a good time. But if I can't give 100% to it, I can't rightfully charge for the plays, because I always feel like I'm missing something. If I just had one more hour to do the numbers, I can't charge. But what I can do is put out really good plays. I give analysis on them all except for Sunday. Sunday is just, there's just not enough time on the West Coast. Those plays got to get out. So I really don't give analysis on the Sunday, but this is the sticks, man. We're a community. We're in it together. We share our ideas. We communicate. We do as much comedy and tell as much stories as we do about the games. It's not about hitting a game. It really isn't about going 3-0 on a given day, or even 5-0. As wonderful as that is, it's about grinding through the entire baseball season. It's about living baseball. It's about the community and the lifestyle. And so, no, can't charge for the picks, but I'm not opposed to sending out some general spam email occasionally.
Right?
Yeah. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us in the sticks. It's good that people get to see you. So when you see me, so fans, viewers, community, when you see a guest handicapper selection, you know, this is the guy who is doing it. He is incredibly insightful. He understands just the rudimentary workings of the game and understands the way in which trends develop, and is really, really good at breaking down games. So I know you got a big day tomorrow, Brian, so get a good night's sleep. And,
thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And day 26 tomorrow of the tournament.
Can I give you your first free flyer for tomorrow?
Oh, yes, please do.
I want you to look at the Nats Braves.
You got it. That'll be the first read flyer, which is 10-4 overall. So a difficult week, but that first read flyer is 70%. That's pretty cool.
All right.
We'll see you. Thank you, Brian.
All right. See you next time.
All right. That was nice once we got the audio working and were able to communicate. Once we were able to do that, we had a show. But I'm not exactly sure what the technical issue was. And so I'll have to call in the Sticks IT department, which is pretty much my wife. Let her come in here and look at the system. She makes that shit work. So hopefully we won't have that kind of problem or issue moving forward. But there are some other items I wanted to point out. And I noticed today that Anibal Sanchez was the second Washington National player ejected from the stands this weekend. And so watching that, it made me think, maybe it wasn't the umpire overreacting to Strasburg. Maybe it wasn't just because there are no people in the stands that you can hear them. No, maybe the Nationals are jerks. Maybe this is just how they behave. Maybe they all deserve to be thrown out of the stands. And why? I think from now on they should have to sit in the upper deck. That's where they can go. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it's random. The whole team, this is how they behave. So I missed the opportunity to talk to Mr. Dale about the new protocol that Major League Baseball is contemplating, and apparently it may come to fruition tomorrow. And that is, according to John Heyman of Major League Baseball Network, the new rule is going to let those who test positive for COVID apply to return to play after 10 days. But get this, even if the player is still testing positive, they'll very likely be allowed to return after 14 days, even if they're still testing positive, because the thinking goes that apparently when they're past 14 days, they're no longer as contagious. It isn't saying that they aren't contagious anymore, just that the contagiousness dissipates. So, okay, so you got the player, he's testing positive, he's still got, I guess he would have to have no symptoms or they would say, sorry. But now my father's position about live on-field testing is even more valuable, because if you're going to have guys who are testing positive being allowed to return to the lineup, I think you got to test them there, but then they would just test positive right there, and there would be confirmation of their prior positive test. So that doesn't necessarily help. But who's going to want to be near these guys? You got a teammate, he's testing positive, but he's been reinstated. What? He's not going to wear a uniform. He can have a hazmat suit with the back, with his name on the back. Maybe then give that a try. Try to swing a bat in a hazmat suit. That's a dude who is asymptomatic, but he's still testing positive, and it's day 16. So maybe he'll take a turn for the worse. Maybe he won't, but we need him in the lineup. So he's in a hazmat suit. And maybe that's what they're thinking. I am not sure. But I know what I am thinking about. If you recall, last night, Nancy was on. She's the person who has sung our songs, and we were talking about Cracker Jacks and Cracker Jack. We're talking about Cracker Jack, although this is a 3-pack, so that makes these Cracker Jacks. But it's funny because she pointed out how there was only one peanut in the box. But if you listen to the song is "Buy Me Some Peanuts and Cracker Jack." And I always was wondering, why does the kid want peanuts? He's got the peanuts in the Cracker Jack, so he wants the Cracker Jack and the peanuts, but he wants more peanuts. But then when you open a box of Cracker Jack and you eat the Cracker Jack, turns out there's only one peanut. No wonder the kid wants peanuts. He wants peanuts to go with his Cracker Jack because the peanuts are not in the box. And so really the Cracker Jack, there's lots of Cracker Jack. It should really be called Peanut and Cracker Jacks. Take me out to the ball game, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. So no, I had it right the first time. Buy me some peanut and Cracker Jacks. That's what the song should be. But I have good news for you. There's going to be some more on Take Me Out to the Ball Game. So stay tuned, stay posted. But right now, let's jump into our first reads. The first reads, doubleheader tomorrow, St. Louis against the Chicago Cubs, although nobody knows how they're getting there. This game is being played in Wrigley, but the second game, the Cardinals will be the home team. So the Cardinals are on the road for a doubleheader in which they'll be the home team in the second game with maybe nobody testing positive for COVID or maybe somebody 14 days testing positive, but less contagious. Meanwhile, Boston and New York play again as if we haven't had enough of this series. Perez against Montgomery. Washington travels down to Atlanta. So Atlanta leaves Miami and Washington leaves Baltimore, and they will meet in Atlanta where Anibal Sanchez, who was thrown out of the stands in the Washington game today, will take the mound against Toussaint. And we've been burned twice by Toussaint, but we're not going to let that burning interfere with our handicapping. Miami stays in Dade County. The New York Mets will travel down there, and a couple of two nine-win teams will face off. The Mets, however, have 14 losses. Miami only has 6. So 9 wins for Miami has them at a very good winning percentage. And Gesselman go against Yamamoto. We'll see if Miami can keep its winning ways going or if the Mets are going to try to move their record around. Toronto and Baltimore. So Toronto leaves Buffalo. We'll head down to Baltimore. And Ryu will go against the pitcher to be determined. Ryu has been steadily improving. Kansas City and Minnesota will stay in the Twin Cities, and they will play the final game of their 4-game series, Bubic against Whistler. I'm not all that familiar with Whistler. He'll make his first start of the season as the opening pitcher. So Twins are going with an opener tomorrow, and Bubic is making his 4th major league start. So some bullpen game there probably. Detroit against the White Sox. Boyd against Gonzalez. Boyd has been a wreck, and the White Sox bats came to life tonight. San Diego, after an atrocious series in Arizona, getting swept by the Diamondbacks, heads to Texas. Texas held their own against the Rockies. So Texas leaves Denver. They'll fly to San Diego, down near me. So they'll fly down here. San Diego returns from Arizona, and now San Diego is below 500, and these two 500 ball clubs will face off, and it's Davies against Lyles. A couple more West Coast games, Oakland and Arizona. Oakland's hot bats go against Arizona's hot team. Bassett against Gallen. Bassett has been very good. Seattle against the Dodgers, as if the Dodgers need more West Coast, American League West Coast pansies. So they'll take their 16-7 record against Seattle, 7-6, done against Stripling. And the final late start of the night is San Francisco and LA. Anderson against Canning. The San Francisco bats may be exactly what Canning needs. He's been absolutely just below average. He's had a couple decent innings, but this guy's got a 4.4 ERA when it really could easily be 6. And so he's at home, should be comfortable. San Francisco flying in from the Bay Area. They'll come down, and the 8-15 Giants will play the 7-15 Angels. And this is the kind of series at first glance the Angels tend to do pretty well in after getting swept, and that's why hover around a 400 winning percentage at 350, right around there. So that's gonna wrap up the show tonight, because that's all the information analysis we have. But maybe Marco will be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll be able to start off the week positive. We're ready for a good week. We've got a first read flyer we're going to break down tomorrow, and it's the start of a new week. So please, ladies and gentlemen, share the Gmail account, the Picks for Sticks. Our views are they're stable, but it could use a electric boost. Thank you very much, and we will see you soon.